Exe Puma, Papa bangani bakho, zwakala ndoda isikhathi sepodcast. It's podcasting with Pumba and Friends, a platform where we engage and interact about social economic factors that affect us and influence us as youth here like us. Igama lami uThulane like us ibangazi ngoPumba, inja yamakasi brand. Angihambi ngiyi-one as always. Ngiphethe izinja zami, sizofundisana, sizovulana umcondo. Le platform yabantu aba open minded more than anything, yabo. So asifuna umuntu eze la judgmental ane stereotype abone ngathi manje hey lana thina yabo la siyafundisana guys. Mawungazi ungaphikisi, mawufuna ukwazibuza. Simple as that. Singakhulumi kakhulu. Bangani bami abazi introduce before ngiya deep kakhulu.
It's Mez here, also known as Mamelo, Ghetto superstar from Melokshine Tema. Yeah. So you can introduce yourself.
Hi. Okay, my name is Gugu, known as Umbula Zomnyama. Yeah, I'm an African spiritualist, if you call it like that. Yes. That's it.
Nice one, guys. And Mzulu Kuku, African spirituality, but that's not the only thing she does. Njengoba nibona la itafini leli so ngisho kuhle namhlanje mani ngezwe kunuka kamnandi kanjani. Ngathi le scent nje ngayifaka la emakemereni nizwe kahle. So before sicala kakhulu ngicela ungitshele kancane nje ngale ndaba le yale business.
Oh, okay. So my business actually is I import fragrances from the UAE, and then it's original stuff. It's not ghosts or calling them clone as such. No oil based. No, they are not inspired by. It's the original Dubai sense. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, nice one ke. Before ke sikhuluma ngama business bengithe nje ukuthi athi kancane uGugu yabo because as we are all about promoting each other la ku podcast yabo. But the topic engifuna sikhulume ngayo futhi besikhuluma ngayo na last week, African spirituality, understanding ubungoma. But I'm sorry guys because we lost the audio ya last week. So bese ngeke sikhona ukunikhiphela le anti epetayo plus labantu engisebenza nabo manje ama perfectionist kabuhlungu kabi ke. Mangantshela ukuthi bafike kimi bangitshelani ukuthi bona they not wanna be associated nama sound anje, but I understood because it was all of improvement of the podcast yabo. So hopefully nizo understand ku post us tell part 2, but we're not gonna do it as like that. Angisho guys. Yeah, sizoyicoca kahle, try to ask questions esibona ngathi are relevant to ebantwini abantu bazowazi. Yeah, the topic of the day, African spirituality. Yeah. What can you say about that? Since we say spiritualist, siyisho kahle lento masithi African spirituality or si wrong?
Yeah, it's African spirituality because I don't believe in fact it's spirituality because when it's African, it's marginalized to a certain people or a group of people. But when you say spirituality, unless namhlanje uzokhuluma vele with a certain part of spirituality which has to do with Ubungoma and black people only, you know. But yeah, what I can say is spirituality is broad. I see into ongai boxer and say spirituality is ukuthwasa phela uyothwala inyongo, that's it, you know. It is broad because there's a lot of phases that you go through, especially when you are a spiritually gifted person. So I guess even when we ask questions, we're going to ask them based on what happens within the spiritual world, not within the African spiritual world. Because if you're going to say African spiritual, there's a lot. There's, for instance, Amandau, there is Umguni, there is Inzunza. It's just a lot, you know. So it's spirituality.
Where do you fall?
Mina, I'm spiritual, guys. I'm not, because I have vast types of spiritual gifts. Yes.
So, just on that, then how does one then differentiate between the different spirituality? How does one then differentiate what gift does one have per se?
At first, it's a bit tricky, but as you go on, you have dreams that tells you who you are. And there isn't always where you go, you check, and then they tell you to know, petwe ikehla iliso, ikehla lomguni, noma elomdao, okay? So it's through dreams, because the dreams will tell you, it's okay, because you dream of 1, 2, 3, then this is me. That means rather, sorry, ukuthi uphethwe umuntu onjeya, or that kind. That's how you differentiate. Also with the background, yes, and also that's why I always say it's very important for a person to do a research first before they dive into the field yokuthwasa.
Mawuthi background ukhuluma ngokuthi abokhokho or people
Yes,
who lived
exactly,
before you.
because that's what it's
Ukuthi
about.
bona bebapractice lento or not. Mawuthi
Not
mele
whether
ngibheke.
practice or not, but ukuthi babo bani. For instance, mina, my mother's side of Omtungo Wombulazi, you understand? So getting a background kamkhulu bengazi ukuthi umkhulu was a gifted person. You
Okay.
know, umkhulu wayesontezayo, no, wayesonta kashembe rather.
Okay.
That's where the gift came from, down to generations and generations. And then wakunogogo futhi as well, obekade nobungoma wayethwasile. So you trace back on those things ukuthi igift yala ekhaya isebenza kanjani. You'd find that other families, they didn't entertain it
Yeah.
that much. So they just went to church.
Yeah.
Yiko uze umuntu athi mina nginesithunywa,
Okay.
or I have the Holy Spirit, I'm a prophet because the Holy Spirit speaks through me. But it goes down from one generation to another.
So isithunywa isithunywa you say in medium isangoma inyanga zonke lezo zinto lezo amadlozi are different. Trying to inyanga
Idlozi is something totally different from isithunywa, so you can't merge the two.
Okay. Just before we carry on.
Yay.
So you said you need to do a background check, right? With the background check, then, as you say, some people did not honor their calling, right? And then they went the other way. And how would you then track it? How would you then backtrack?
As I said, masele kuvukele wena, it's up to you as a person ukuthi uhambe uyohlola. Uyasukuma, there's inyanga, bakhona abaprofeti. Ma uprefera umuntu ongathi akasebenzi ngomuthi, you would just gladly go to mamsebelethi noma mamthandazi, as they call
Okay.
them. Basebenza ngesithunywa ke labo bantu labo, then uyahlola, then they will just tell you everything ukuthi wena ke uphethwe ubani, or rather is your gift is ngobani, or it's what kind of a gift is it?
Okay.
Yes.
Right. And then, so I hear angishizangoma bayahamba ayothwasa wherever. So prophet and isithunywa, or is it different?
Prophet Nasuri ain't one, because for you to be able to prophesy, you must have isithunywa.
Then what is the process then for them?
Isithunywa.
Yeah.
Isithunywa sakhushulwa. Isithunywa sisebenza with water mainly. You know,
Okay.
water, prayer, and mediums such as iwasho. Siphakamiswa ngeiwasho as well. There's ingubo zakhona. You find ukuthi mhlambe isithunywa sala ekhaya sana mhlambe idukeli yellow,
Yeah.
noma blue, you understand? Because those colors, they signify something in the spiritual realm.
so iwasho ne iwasho like ilezi zinto lezi amanzi pink bazibiza kanjalo ku Facebook.
Pink aura. Yeah.
Iswasho into enjani.
Yes.
So who manufactures that thing? Because lezo zinto siyazibona kule mikhukhu esilver yala ithengiswayo ibrandiwe inamagama, like ubani no manufacturer lento.
Iwasho is the same thing as plants, but ukuthi zenziwa bayazigaya zibe fine.
Okay.
Most of iswasho, there's plants akhona
Yeah.
that take a certain color, and then they fine grind salt,
Mhm.
because it's a major part of who we are.
And that's why bathi ungaphisani ngotswa ebusuku
Exactly, or itswa lingene
Ekhaya
ekhaya
ebusuku,
ebusuku,
yeah,
and
those kind of
mafuna
things.
ukususa a bad aura ugeza ngaleso
Itswayi ligrof.
you know.
Yeah.
So mostly Indians, they manufacture those because they're merchants, man. They're in business.
Yeah.
If something works, they're gonna sell it for you. You understand? Also, Iwasha, they come from different indigenous cultures out there. As I have said, Indians, Red Indians more so. They also do have, but it's based on plants, made from plants. Buy a fine grinder and use them. Just mix it with whatever they're mixing with.
So what's the purpose yeswasho?
The purpose yeswasho
Do we
is-
drink or do we wash? Njengoba kuyiswasho.
See, khona eziphuzwayo, khona ezogeza. So it differs per prescription. Ukuthi ba prescribe kanjani.
So here's nakaZTC, it's the same thing. Yini konje? Konje bakunikani ZTC. What's this thing?
I wouldn't know, honestly. With
Yini
the
konje?
Indayelo.
Indayelo. Looking for that name.
I don't know how Indayelo is.
Indayelo is
made.
not the same thing as iswasho.
I think Indayelo is tea. I think there's this coffee. Is it FG? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's those. but it works. I mean, I always say, what if no one is a slash, right, and say it heals, it doesn't have an effect unless
I
there's
believe.
you
Basho
believe.
kanjani. Yeah, but
Yeah,
sizosebenza
unless-
because I believe.
Yeah.
So, just to go back, is the process the same? So, like, I'm just Ebungomeni, someone would go, let's say, for 6 months or depending on whatever happens, right? So, with the prophets and isithunywa, do they also go, like, well, somewhere and do whatever, go through training
Well,
and
that
whatnot?
training initiation
Or
kind
is
of
it
stuff.
something different from what Izangoma would do?
The process is the same because a healer is separated for a certain time for them to be able to train. You understand? So there's modern days you can train at home. Weekend. There's a lot of dynamics these days, but it's the same process, just different things that are used to ukulona. Khona bahamba bahlala kwagobela bayaphakamisa isithunywa and be trained kanjalo kanjalo. But khona abangayi because kuneyithunywa zasentabeni, kuneyithunywa zase kuma caves
Yeah.
semgedeni. So sometimes you have to go to a caves for a certain period of time. So to isolate yourself to learn a few things, they are
Not a
calling
certain period of time, which I'm going there, living there.
Uyohlala
Hlala
lapho,
lapho for
yes.
leyo
Should
sikhathi.
we caveman?
So how do I feel, man? It's 2 days
Cavewoman.
esingitshela ukuthi you should go there now.
as I said, there's dreams, there's
Okay.
visions, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So most of the things in the spiritual world are guided by dreams. Most of the time.
Most of the time,
Yeah.
you know, but there's people who hear voices as well or who sees their medium of communication. Isithunywa zabo namadlozi zabo.
Okay.
So it differs per person. That's fine. So I can't generalize and say because when we answer then nami kumele ngizwe or when because we are poop and kumele khona bangaphuphi at
So khona
all.
umuntu obona ivision sihleli kanje nje.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Khuluma ntanga podcast ungakhohlwa.
So what you initially saying to me is that some dreams, like this deja vu thing that you'd have, would be something that is being spoken to you, or
Yes.
like you feel I've been here before, like I know what's going to happen next, and it's long, but it's deja vu.
Yeah.
So-
We all have those.
Yeah, we
Sometimes
understand.
I feel like
Yeah.
I'm in deja
The
vu.
So-
deja vu and the vision are like two different things. Deja vu
Okay.
is more like it's the universe rather trying to communicate with which you've been here before or you've seen this thing before. It happened. That's why if you have a deja vu, you're like, nah, man, this thing once happened
Yeah.
before.
Yes.
It's because you are spirit before you are human. So your spirit self has been here before, but your physical self is here now.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, guys, before sikhuluma kakhulu, go side. Khona bafuna ukushow something or
Ekudala sizula boss. Ayidala sizula.
Hi guys, Untokozo, Castillo. I was in the last podcast, so ngingamangali. It's a conference call. I'm on Zoom. Umamelo, Big Brother's watching, my king. Umamelo ngiyambona iyamthusa lento ye deja vu ngoba manje seyiyela ngathi mhlambe nayo ucanga ukuthi unesithunywa.
Not even.
Not even. Okay, yazi Gugu ne? Or can I address you as Gogo for
I'm not formal either
Okay. So they talked about you talked about Indians being merchants, and I was disturbed by something I read this morning. There's a gentleman bekapuma Natal abuya ukuyokha bathini what do you call them, plants and so on. Okay, bekabuya ukuyokha plants and all those things ezokulapha, and he was arrested. Yeah, ubuya ukuyokha umuthi, and he was arrested. Apparently kuleyo muthi awuphethe there's protected plants, and it is unfortunate because those protected plants they are protected by a pharmaceutical company. And then just like I asked last, ukuthi umuthi wethu you find imbiza ibrown iyathusa bhumba ne, and then abelungu they take that same thing, they package it, they add some preservatives, nini say taste njenge strawberry sesayithanda. I understand. So
Very true.
Kuku, what's your view on that issue specifically? Because I'm sure plants are a large part of ubunyanga nokulapha and all that. So if it's a controlled environment, and I believe it's not really controlled by the actual people who are practicing it. Njengoba usho ukuthi it's the Indians are merchants. They have their own beliefs and so on, but awubatholi baphonsa amathambo or bayenza umgidi. You understand? What's
They
your
actually
view on
do.
that?
They actually do.
Oh, they do.
And just to add on that, what you were saying, like even the Chinese, if you go to Cyril Dean, just after Ibruma, the Chinese community, and the Chinese are one of the healthiest people on earth, if I stand to be corrected. Yes, because yeah, but in terms of herbs and whatnot, most of their stuff is literally like what you're saying with pharmaceutical companies. During COVID, for the past 2 years, if we go back, umhlonyana was one besingawunaki, ne? But suddenly it became something we rallied on. Fig leaves, besistima nangawo. So I understand what you're saying.
So your question was?
Oh,
Sorry.
my question is because
The protected
let me use
plants.
specific words. Because we're talking about African spirituality, and we're saying predominantly the people who practice it to a sense yokuthi it's public or it's known as public knowledge, I would say I don't want to use color, but maybe let me say brown people. I think I want to use that word, brown people. Yeah, brown people. Because the Chinese are told bashayi igupu and so on, you understand? They have their own specific way of doing things. And bona they're focusing on herbal medicine and all that. But azanke bang tumele but hamba uyegwi, I think they call them seers. A seer. I've never seen or heard of a Chinese seer. So
What are you saying basically? I want to get to your question.
my question is, what is your view
Okay.
on African medicine being demonized when it's being practiced by a certain group of people, but
Protected
it is
by-
commercialized when it's practiced by a certain group of other people? Yeah, I understand.
Well, said we must not mention color, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Well, let me just blatantly say the Caucasians will never expose you to something that is beneficial to you. So they will always put it away from you so that you can depend on them for healing and stuff like that. That's why you find even Nama waterfalls now, by our valor, they are protected because they are owned by a certain boer somewhere. You understand?
Yes.
Because they understand that's your way of healing. So that thing came from long ago in the ages of oppression and stuff like that. They know what can free you. They know what's going to heal you. They know that when you have this, you don't need them. It's more like on reliance. They want you to rely on them for your own healing, for your own well-being, rather.
Which I fully agree.
Okay,
Because
now
African medicine are not overdose in any case.
There's no
Like,
overdose or
and
nothing.
with Western medicine, you are told to only take 2. For African medicine, ungapuza 1 manje. After 15, phinde elinye cup,
And you still be fine.
you still be fine. So
Yeah.
I get you.
Okay, another question.
okay, yeah, then I pass it on.
Okay.
Yes, yours you first.
Okay, there's a trend that's recently been going around, ne? Someone spoke about the age of Africanism or African spirituality coming back in full force to be recognized.
It's a question to ask. Mistake.
What we discussed obviously was that ekuqaleni, it was demonized and it was legislated in actual fact under the Witchcraft Act, if I believe.
Yeah.
Ukuthi to practice spirituality is actually punishable by law. Okay, sesidlulile lapho kuleyo era. We're now in an era where spirits are coming out to reveal themselves. But what I'm seeing is that predominantly they are revealing themselves through black African children. Because azanke ngizobate high school Stoffberg. Kids were rolling on the grass.
No. But we what he's talking about is something that we've seen on social media pages and whatnot, where kids are just having seizures or whatever, if I can call it that. So what he's asking, I think, I stand to be corrected, is in them coming back, do they only focus on African children? Or, as we said, we can't put color to it. So do they only focus on the African children? Or is it broader than that?
It's broader. It's on everyone. It's on everyone because if you look at social media, for instance, there's white people practicing the witches of Wicca. That's what they call them because that's their own line of spirituality. Astrology, it's on everyone. It's not just us.
So even astrology is part of spirituality.
It is because we studied stars back in the day in Egypt. So we studied stars. We could tell time in a day through stars, through astrology, through zodiac. You understand? With that, we were in the age of Pisces, according to astrology and the zodiac. The age of Pisces is an age where everything is hidden from you. It's more like they are putting a veil, which was like in Kazabo apartheid. You understand? You were programmed to think a certain way. Yeah, you were taught the orthodox way of studying, like going to your school and then. But now we are in the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is when the truth comes out. The veil is removed. Everything is. You cannot lie anymore. That's why you find even go into the governance, things are just out there because they cannot hide anything. They research, they have knowledge of what is happening. They don't just take things and go to sleep. They question everything. That's why even the spirits are coming out now because it's time. It's time for change. It's time for people to embrace who they are. It's time for people to follow through. Amadlozi. It's time to twasa. That's why you'd find umntana 11, but you're twasa. You understand? Because yonke le mimoya ebikade is starting now to rise again, and they're looking for a place, basically.
And then, okay.
Yeah. So Kamala Mukhoto from La Extension 1. Mine's is more of, I don't know whether you guys were prepared on touching this one because I hear Nkrumah more of Ubungoma and stuff like that. But African spirituality, according to my knowledge, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, is holistic from an African perspective, right? My understanding is that why am I forgetting the words now? You can associate African spirituality even with the education of black people in Asian African people. You can associate African spirituality with medicine, ancient medicine. So to speak of African spirituality from one light, like the entire like how we were modernizing our lives as African people had a lot to do with African spirituality. There was a lot of spiritual guidance. So I thought maybe we were going to touch a little bit on that one. So
on spiritual guidance.
Yeah, it's not limited to prophecy, it's not limited to, why am I forgetting this word? It will come back.
Yeah.
So
when on this note,
no, I'm just saying, like, let's take for instance, we are not talking about that first educational system was introduced by Africans, right? The first universities were built in what today we call Mali, Timbuktu, yes. So those things were advanced via spiritual guidance, you understand? Yeah. So it also under the category of African spirituality. So when we're modernizing our lives, so what is being called moving away from the barbaric type of moving into more civil. There we go. Yeah, when we're civilizing our lives, then So I thought maybe you guys can also touch on that one, perhaps.
Okay, I think as we grow older now, we tend to understand what a lot has been hidden away from us in terms of Africanism and all of that, where everything seemingly starts in the West. But when you take a deeper look, everything actually starts in Africa. there's something that I read earlier on today, that the map that we are actually shown is not the real map.
Really?
The
Yeah,
map
it's
Africa.
literally is
Upside down.
it's upside down.
Namanga.
But we've been
We are
taught.
Turkish house.
We,
So
you
we
see,
are at the top.
Yeah.
basically, we've been taught all of this. So it just shows you. I mean, if you look at the Timbuktu issue,
Yeah.
we are not taught
We are
of
not
that.
told, yeah.
And most things that are manufactured in the world are actually done by black people. So
Workforce of the
so that's why we actually need to now come back and say, but what are we teaching our children? I think it goes back to that, where if you're going to allow a system of the oppressor to teach your children, then they're going to teach them whatever they want to teach them. That's where we lose most of our African or our spirituality, because we're being taught what's not going to benefit me in any manner.
And I'm loving what you said, Mamelo. In adding to that, ne? So now, how can we find ourselves in a position now where we are no longer, because it's not every household that is woke.
Yeah, no.
It's not every
Yes.
parent that is woke. Kunathi njoba sitsho ukuthi si woke. Kunabanye aba woke ukudlula thina.
Yes.
Sizothina mesikhuluma dala abascratch surface. Yabona into
Exactly.
enjalo, yabona into enjalo. So now what I want to understand ukuthi how do we siyenze ngathi i-ringers kuyezwa like njoba mesikhula mokuneyitori ukuthi mohambi lokishi elinje naye lo muntu lo wakule lokishi elinje uyasazi le story leso ukuthi vele uTaki meka esikuthi yazi ngizama ukuyenza. I'm trying to find an example like just to simplify it where ukuthi ngaba ngathi insumansumane kube ngathi insumansumane espreader everywhere. Yabona into enjalo we bese so mina into engiyazi ngifuna ukuyi-understanda kakhulu ukuthi how can we try to incorporate education yethu, because everything boils down to education. Because mina I know Jesus loves me because a primary school basiculise yona ukuthi Jesus loves me, yabona into enjalo. So but if mengikhulise vele stock sithi mbom mina ngiyophila vele nami ngilongithi mbom yabona into enjalo. And yidayideng yokuyidoctrina ingqondo dayideng, like that's how you actually plant a seed, and that's how the other ethnic groups are winning phezu kwethu, where they actually babeka eyabo
Or they teaching us
phezulu
their values.
bese
Instead of
badano
ours.
ungaphikisi umistress ukuthi uJesus mara Muhammad is the main man.
Okay.
Yabona into enjalo. Jesus, yes, Jesus is there. We're not saying Jesus is not there. But Muhammad is the main man. That's why Muslims like in some cases bashaya khona, and where they actually able to understand how money is supposed to work within the Muslim community, or how money is supposed to work within the Jewish community. Yabona kanjalo. How can we slowly and we understand ukuthi akadaki slowly ngoba ingqondo zakadaki asicabanga ngokufana. Yabona into enjalo. So how can we slowly try to incorporate that and integrate that? Like kube the way we used to sing Inkosi Sikelela without the Afrikaans part and the English part. Mina ngicula word for word from start to finish kaSotho le kaSzulu. There was never no Afrikaans. Yeah. Naleyo mengekho ntwana yami. So how can we slowly try to incorporate
To teach the young.
which is a tough one ngoba like thina yethi conflicted, but maybe nina ningayichaza ngcono.
Can I just start? For me, what the system of the oppressor did was to literally play with our minds. So basically, it was a divide and conquer. So now you find if you're going to say what you say, I'm going to question what you were saying.
Yeah.
Young Chol.
Yeah.
Because we both fighting over a system which was created by someone else.
Yeah.
Young Chol. And to add on to that, then we became an era of technology where we introduced into different. This is the teaching we need to teach.
Yeah.
Young Chol. Because now we were led to believe, go to school, from school, go to university, work.
Yeah.
But now, as you grow older, you see, but that was a lie. We were lied to. Young John, you really, as much as yes, school is important, but it's not as important as knowing how to make a living.
Yeah.
You understand? Because I always go back to, in the ancient days, how did people make money? They knew how to make a living
Yeah.
without even going to school or doing anything. You understand? So
Yeah, because
to get back to your point,
yeah,
to get back to that, it's a difficult one because everyone is, as you said, everyone believes they woke and whatnot, and we are the generation of I want to prove this to the next person and so on. But then we forget we need to understand where we come from before we can understand where we need to go to.
Yeah. Okay.
We are not singing the same narrative where everything is from.
Purely.
That's the first problem. Ne? The fact that we're not singing the same narrative. Could it be that good we're not singing the same narrative? Ukuthi, this is where it started. Like ayavumelana ukuthi itsakane iqale la ekhoneni endaba ezitha. Omunye uzothi hayi iqalele eShell.
See.
I think that's where we
Omunye
miss
athi Rockville.
it. I think
Is
that's
that what's killing us?
That is, but I think the problem is that we want to teach from outside. You understand? There's a saying, it's charity begins at home. As woke as you are, start at home.
Yeah.
Teach the youngins in the family. You know, teach those who are able to listen, those who want to implement and willing, yes, before you're going to teach outside. Because the reason why Silwa Ganga, you'd find even on social media, a group in Ubungoma, sonke sabangoma, sonke swasila, but we are fighting because there's no charity within. So I think the only solution is to teach from inside.
Are you saying even as a not the same gospel?
Not that it's not the same gospel, but it's a battle of I know better than you.
Oh, okay.
Superiority
yeah.
complex type of thing, yes.
Yeah.
Because what I found within I'm going to use the black community, is that someone always needs to be higher than the next person.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. So it becomes harder for us to become in unison, because as they used to label them clever blacks,
Yeah.
because now you're not going to fight the same struggle as he's fighting. You understand? So it becomes a bit of an issue, and everything has now been put, especially on social media, and the media itself has sort of made it a demonic thing when you practice your own things. But when you practice the Western culture,
It seems
it's
nice.
all good and well.
Yeah.
You understand?
Why should it bother you, first of all?
No, it's not bothering me per se.
No, I'm just saying when, as for instance, me, why should now I be affected ukuthi untokozo view a certain like this and this about me.
Yeah.
I have this thing, if you believe so much in something, practice it without validation.
Okay.
No,
True.
And I get that without validation. I'm not even talking of validation. I'm talking. No, ntokozo so true. Sala ku gated community like Sona felt. Ayewe ukuthi angeke khona ukuhlaba in that.
Ukuhlaba kwenza ispan. Hayi madoda. Anikhona ukwenza ispan ema complex.
You can, but
You can.
You apply.
Young John. Yeah, but
Yeah, you have to
comes
force your way
with-
through.
Yes.
There's actual bylaws that have to be followed. I think the Jewish community also
Yes.
use a certain way to slaughter. They call it kosher. So the way we do it, Gushuti, we have nothing. Okay, let me say this. We, as black Africans, I'm advocating for black Africans. We've got nothing protecting us to actually carry out our own cultures
Yes.
and traditions.
Yes.
If you look on Ipagete knickknacks, there's something written there, eti halal,
Halal. Yes.
accepted and so on. Right. That is a body that protects them. So even if they want to slaughter, if they can tell law enforcement ukuthi this slaughter is under halal and whatsoever, they're just gonna let them go. They don't even understand where it starts from. You understand? But whereas with us, Mauqala uti, you're slaughtering a cow or a goat or something. Your neighbors, once they hear that scream, immediately be protected. So that's why in the beginning, I'm always advocating. There's a certain way we are disadvantaged even if this thing applies to us. We should connect it to us that they're going to split out. Such as the transportation of
what I wanted to know, you can't slaughter nje uvuke uphuphile ukuthi bathi kusasa mhlawumbe imbuzi. I can't do that emasalazi.
The bylaws say you have to follow some kind of protocol. But because we were something negative from you when they look up to us in a gated community.
So do those bylaws apply now like sheep? The same.
It's just
Dialogue sheet,
Go young and I was chair.
they're not enforced.
Yeah. That's why enforce all
Yeah, and obviously the dominant place is usually the complainers. What do they call them? Tanya.
I think we just need to build our own community.
It's all right.
and as I was going to say, with the medication, what about it? But it's about the reality of financial.
Okay, me now another.
We find ourselves in the situation where we are the majority, but being oppressed by minority. You can't even practice your culture in such a way that
I also think indoctrination plays a part because we were oppressed, right, for the longest of time. And our people were taught to oppress each other as well. So it's indoctrination. That's why I was saying that we need to teach from here. You know, we need to break it. And that's why I'm saying building our own communities, like having our own.
because we don't even have school of our own.
Exactly. So you can't go to Veritas or go to those and just tell. Yeah, we need to push in the syllabus. Yes, African spirituality or yesigo and
Okay.
stuff like that. You know.
Mina what I wanna ask again enye question yami ukuthi ngifuna ungischooling ngale ndaba yokuhlaba and melanin, and I feel angazi someone told me ukuthi as we are black, angisho we have melanin within us. The earth is brown because it has melanin. So that's why we look like it. And the universe or something is also made up of melanin. The universe, the small matter or something. I read that somewhere.
So what do you want to know?
So I wanna know ukuthi le ndaba yokuhlaba, how does it work? Do we hlaba because of that melanin or why do we have to perform a ritual sihlabe isilwane? Ngibeke kanjalo.
Angithi there's customs, there's tradition, and then there's ngizothini. For instance, ebungomeni kunomthetho weshoba. You understand? Umthetho weshoba, that's where you are given rules ukuthi kumele uphile kanjani. Ubungoma bakho, how do you address it? How do you carry yourself through? Angithi.
Yeah.
Bese kuba nosiko. Isiko, there's customs such as ukuhlaba. Mawuhlaba, there's certain things that cannot be done without the covenant of the blood.
Okay.
Yeah,
What does the blood do? Connect her to the
it does. It's a covenant between you and Tongo.
isilungu esiphezulu. Covenant.
What is a covenant, guys? NgesiZulu.
Sisekazi guys.
It's more like isivumelwano. No, it's a what is a pact? Man. Guess
Covenant.
Covenant.
What's the covenant?
more like a pact.
Isivumelwano, ne?
Yeah, it's an agreement. It's even Jewish people do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
covenant.
Oh,
We
good.
speak a lot of it in the Bible. Food. A covenant.
Yeah, a covenant. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
So between when Amadlozi, like for instance, you must acknowledge your ancestors. Uhlabe imbuzi, you understand those
Yeah.
things. So uhlaba kwakhe isilwane is simply to acknowledge, to say, okay, whatever you guys are saying to me, I agree. You know,
Yeah.
ukuthi ngiyavuma ukuthi ke ngalesilwane ngisiletha kini as an offering.
Okay.
Yabona in
Yeah. Sure. House
yes.
rules namhlanje.
Broke the house rules.
Yeah. Another. Oh, now any question could.
No, I'm gonna go back. The question I asked last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Facebook. We seeing a whole lot of
Izangoma zoduma.
going to. Is it Pethlin?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it legit, or is it just a case of some
Scam.
people just wanting the easy way out?
There's no easy way out. Angeke ukuthi uyathwasa then you take the easy way
No,
out.
but hence and this is my opinion. I thought I'm
Okay.
just asking because I just felt like There's a whole lot
It's
of
too
people.
much.
Yeah, you understand.
It's gonna be too much. It's gonna be too much because there were a lot of Amadlozi who were ignored a long time ago. There's families that decided ukuthi thina siya so sonke Luther asisingeni lezi thina siya Anglicani. This is not our way. You understand? Not blaming them as well because into zesintu njengoba wazobekashilo ukuthi they were more demonized. We were not allowed to practice certain things. So over the time of democracy and stuff like that, church became a thing.
Yeah.
You understand? So njengoba ngisho we're in the age of Aquarius, the veil is removed. Imoya yonke izophakama and iyophakamela everyone in the family.
Yeah.
Everyone. Angeke ukuthi mhlawumbe nje wasekhaya ngithi kuzothwasa mina kuphela. No. There's gonna be someone else ozosukuma futhi kumele athwase. There's gonna be umzala that kumele athwase because there's a lot. I think umkhuluma singer explained it ukuthi idlozi when it sees a gateway. Nabo bayaphanga ukuthi no nami ngifuna ukungena because it's a thing now. It's
Okay.
what is supposed to happen spiritually.
So what happens when the calling ngayanga yothwasa?
There's a lot that can happen to you. A lot that can
Uzohlupheka.
happen to you. You'd find ukuthi some people do prosper. Basebenze babe neimoto nathotha kananzalo. You understand?
Because of Amadlozi.
Because of that. It's not a punishment, but it's more like
Trying to
them
get your
trying
attention.
to get your attention. But this needs to be done, and you are the matriarch in the family or the patriarch in the
chosen
family,
one.
the chosen one, the elect of the family who's supposed to do that. You understand? So abanye you'd find with vele it doesn't go anywhere. So ukuthi umuntu ufundile wagraduata umntana abantu tries business is not working or mase kuyisikhathi ukuthi you had a business then everything just starts going down because there's things that needs to be done.
Okay. So how important is manifesting?
Manifesting is very important kubalulekile because even if you are not aware that you are manifesting but you actually are, you know, because you'd be thinking you know what, I need to start a business and from taking some shram for
Yeah.
instance and then every day you're like, yes, and I'm going to do this. You start a vision board.
Yeah.
You understand? You start a vision board or you start researching on things based on shram love. That's
Okay.
manifestation on its own.
Okay,
Because at the
okay.
end, it propels you to start that thing.
Not the manifesting yesibona amakhandlela amhlophe.
It does work. Naleyo. Angisho it's per ritual. Khona ama-rituals of manifestation.
Okay.
Then there's just manifestation.
And then how do you tell the real
Ritual
from the bogus?
Yeah.
Because
Because it's
right
real,
You know,
is it?
it's cutting salamuz, man.
But you have to discern. There's what we call a discerning spirit. You have to have discernment.
How do you do that?
You like it's just you can tell. Do research. Do research.
Do you understand where I'm coming from?
I wasn't
With so many people buy Patreon and all of that. How do you then identify who is legit, who is not legit?
coming to Nase Nyangi.
Let me just
How
say
do you
this.
see what's
No
going
one
on
is
in
gonna
Alabama?
just, for instance, Jingam. I can't just volunteer and saying Fungyo Twas.
No. All
I'm
correct.
explaining.
Yeah, no,
You understand? No one is just gonna stand up and say, "As in Fungyo Twas, ngazi nje ukuba yabo seyangihlula sengifuna ukuyothwasa. I want to leave my job,
Yeah.
leave and go uyothwasa." You
Yeah,
understand?
ngine-passion
And the
for ubunyanga.
problem isuka ebunyangeni because khona bakuthwalelayo ubunyanga. Khona bahambayo bayothwala and practice certain things. I think someone explained indaba yezizwe. Khona imoya yezizwe
Yezizwe, yeah.
where they take
Yeah.
amathambo wabantu noweyilwane and mix it with certain herbs. That thing uyayikhotha noma uyidle noma put it in your drink. Ugeze ngayo bakugcabe bakufake amafutha eyilwane
Yeah.
emzimbeni and automatically uzokhona ukubona, uzokhona ukulapha, uzokhona ukwenza yonke into. You understand?
Okay.
But inkinga isuke ibe la. Umntana abantu uyasuka kibo uthi uzothwasa kuwena.
Yeah.
Mawufika idlozi lakho nalelwane, idlozi zalomntwana nalelwane zakho they clash.
Okay.
And then you want to start imposing into zakho to that person. You understand? That's why you find abantu bayaphuma ephehlweni bangacedanga. Because that's in the first place, that's not where you were supposed to go. Yeah.
And my reason for also asking that is I saw also a wave within the celebrity
Yeah,
community,
yeah,
right?
true.
Now, don't get me wrong. So suddenly people came back and they were whatever, and then suddenly they're back to normal. Everything's back to normal.
So ke uyathwasela ukudlulisa mhlambi ukuthi
Yeah, khona
ngiyadlulisa
ukuthwasela
Or
ukudlulisa.
abanye
yeah
just
to practice vele
let me ride on this wave
yeah
and
I wouldn't know on the others riding on the wave. I think more it has to other people. They didn't understand the issues that they had mentally. You understand? They didn't understand the issues that they had mentally that needed to be dealt with first. Then abanye khona ke thothi kunogogo thothi umsamo osekhaya ume kahle. But khona lo gogo lo ongazange ayendlule ephehlweni kwakumele aye ephehlweni but
Yeah.
she acknowledged Amadlozi.
yeah
I would say for an example uBoyti.
yeah Boyti for
Right,
example
uBoyti Thulo.
Yeah.
Kwakumele ayondlulisa, not ukuthi uyothwasa bese uba yihila. Not everyone is going to ahlale endumbeni abe ngumelaphi.
Yeah.
Sometimes mele uyophothula nje undlulisela ugogo or umkhulu
Okay.
bese impilo yakho goes on kuze kuphetheke everything himself. You understand? That's that.
okay so ngingatrainwa mina nginganayo i-calling ngitrainwe like njengoba usho ukuthi mhlambe mina ngiziyele lapho ngiyothwasa can they train me noma nginganayo lento you can't be trained ungana calling
You can't. What are you training for? Because for you to train, mele kube nento ekuguidayo ukuthi okay, manje ugobela wakho needs to take you through certain things. You understand?
Okay.
So you can't just go there uyochillela. You have to train for if mhlambe bathi uyigedla,
Yeah.
then uyenyangeni bayokutrainela ukugedla because it's your gift. That's what you are called for. Mhlambe bathi mele kuma prophet, you train ayi ukuthi you train ukuba a prophet, but you are training the ways ukuthi okay, how do I handle this when it comes to me? How do I mix iswasho for someone when they come in for a certain
10
sickness?
minutes
sorry to cut you. For someone like me who doesn't know, and for viewers, ikela zothi yini?
Igedla as those who are dealing with medicine, abo medical doctors. Basically.
okay.
Yeah, they heal.
Alright,
I'm a healers. But
So
some
just
some
for
plants
someone
and
who
herbs
doesn't
to
know,
heal.
just
Yeah.
like me.
yeah
Because nabe sengicabanga igedlela or
Oh, igedla.
okay anyone on a question lapho kuma coast
yeah, we can take questions, I think.
Sambona njani? Mina igama lami nguSipho ne. Isipana khona
Sondela
la Chilas.
ngamla ngoba ngesikuzo.
Bakubuza abafethu ukuthi yini difference between umndiki nomndawo konje bathini le unzunza because kuna into eziningi esingazi understand between lezi zinto.
Okay, umdawo, right. Mabathi nomdawo ile dlozi leli is ancient people ne. Bewabiza ngamandawo. They hail from abo Zimbabwe, Mozambique, those kind. It's a foreign spirit. Angithi as abogogo bethu bahamba nabokhokho they mated with some people from. So mabathi unomdawo unalelo dlozi leyo. So amandawo, the reason why they called water people at most is because though that group of men bakuleyo lona leyo they raped people. Babedlwengula abantu bebahlupha nje. Bebahlupha, yes, bebahlupha kakhulu. And then they were baqoshwa. That's why I told you ukuthi ma unomdawo. Umuntu nomdawo first of all uthola ukuthi mhlawumbe unokuphuphalala na someone. Khona isilwane esilala nawo, but sometimes we find ukuthi umdawo lo just needs to be cleansed. Mabaqeda ukumgeza kumdawo bese uhlala kahle abedloze lihle. You understand? So that's umdawo. It's just another spirit esesikhona ekhaya. And then kuba khona umdiki vele uhlupha kakhulu because udla yonke into from your business to things if naye akahlanjululwanga wagezwa, you understand. Lelo is a very troublesome idlozi li-west umdawo, you know. Yes, and then kuba khona inzunza. Inzunza is the water guides abahlala emanzini. They come in a form of umamlambo, but abantu they signify umamlambo with inyoka, which is not the one. But it looks like a snake, but it's got the yabo. You know. So inzunza ile yasemanzini, they are the just as a hierarchy in the spirits, yes. Yibo ke abakhulu bamanzi. You understand?
Okay.
And which else one you wanted to clarify? Okay.
Yeah, no. Can I talk? Yeah. I'm not asking questions. It's just on something you touched on later. One alien man. Okay. Now I'm coming from the African Indigenous Religious Group. Umzet. Yes. Kumsion. I grew up there and everything. So you find this thing of demonizing the is not zoomed in by the white group when you are coming from that. No, the entire African indigenous religions are not demonized because they also have Christianity within. I understand, but that group, the same group, is demonized by blacks. When you start talking about Amapostolo, they have something negative to say about them. Abu Shembe, there's something. So
This spiritual church.
yes, they are demonized by fellow black people who believe differently, who believe that now we pray only, and those who use water have less faith, something of that nature. And then you find Batwa coming from the African indigenous will discourage people like Inyang, and because there is little information actually, because we have a government that deprives black people from getting that information about this aspects of African spirituality. So yeah, man, black people must just learn to accept one another. We just need to learn to accept one another and learn each other's practices. So yeah, dog. Yeah, sure.
5 minutes or question. Oh, all right. Question Jambulo Nyamaste. Question last minute. How na question? Okay, so there's no question there. What's unfair?
So everyone sorted.
Tell me right now.
Okay.
That's fine. Mina ziningi into engifuna ukuzazi ngale nto le yabo. Another thing ile izangoma, like izangoma zodumo. What do you think about that? Like, do they need to be very glorified or made celebrities of the thing, or what do you think? Yeah, what the lento abayenza right?
I'm not gonna say it's right or it's wrong. I think it's personal preference. Uma uthanda idlozi lakho kul expose le, it's fine, it's up to you. But for me, I grew up being taught to ukuthi into zedlozi or spiritual things are sacred. You understand?
Okay.
They are very sacred because kunemfihlakalo yakhona that is not supposed to be exposed like that.
Yeah.
Because when you expose such things, you are teaching even the wrong
People.
the dark side to say, okay, oh, this is how they do it, we can do it better. You understand? For instance, there's abafundisi from Christian churches, abahamba bayodlizizwe.
Yeah.
You understand? That's why they come back and say, thou said the spirit of the living God, because badlizizwe, they can see everything from your ID numbers to, you understand?
So lento abapushire.
Yeah, badlizizwe, it's witchcraft that they practice so they can be able to come to you and tell you what it is.
Yeah.
And then you fall for that, you understand?
Witchcraft.
Kunemithi abayidlayo kunezinto abazigcobisayo,
Yeah.
for instance, so that you can become compliant to whatever that they are doing. You understand?
Okay.
Yeah.
So because we are running out of time, any question maybe?
Yeah, why am I forgetting this question now? And it was here.
Yeah, be able to say credit.
Oh yes, on just so, because I've seen also a lot of people on social media advertising the whole sort of journey as a patriot, and then I asked myself, is that allowed, or is it something that a person chooses to do, or
It's something a person chooses to do. Like I said, personal preference. Kumbulama, we're in the age of social media, the age of Snapchats, the age of everything is documented.
Yeah.
And abantu bahluleka ukuyibamba ukuthi okay, such things I'm not supposed to.
Yeah.
Such I'm not supposed
So
to.
supposed to reveal, yeah.
okay, so meaning a phone is allowed into a patriot?
It's not allowed. Like I said in the beginning, umuntu owelaphayo mayo practice or when you go to be initiated, you are secluded from everything for a reason. That's why you suswa ekhaya uye kwagobela, because you are not.
Just continue.
Okay, yeah, continue.
Okay, just to close it off. So music disturbs your vibrations.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why there's like your 808 beats and stuff like that. So most of Patreon, you are secluded for a lot of things like the noise, the outside noise, because you have to focus. You're not even supposed to sleep in bed then. Exactly. So yeah, grounding is very important. That's why it's important to hug a tree.
So lento wasibuvumelana nayo.
Yeah, it's legit.
Health-wise, it's actually healthy to walk bare feet.
Really?
Even to hug a tree, it releases more of anxiety and depression.
Akahlanya isibuda.
No, he's not. You're the people who are crazy, not him.
Really?
No. So yeah, that's that. So music kuyahlanyisana, guys. That's why we go crazy.
Oh, that's why man say nandini nisihlahluba. Must
Not
you.
me. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's why they do it.
Oh, so bayenza right. So okay, another important question before we close. How can I tell if someone is scamming me? Ungizela ngospirituality ukuthi mele ngenze. How can
That's
I
a
tell?
difficult one. That's why I said the spirit of discernment is very important. But sorry, there's people who don't have discernment, which is a problem.
Yeah.
That's why you get people baba scammed and stuff. It's important to know yourself. Yeah, it's a difficult one, man. Discernment
it's difficult
is
to tell ukuthi umuntu
yeah, it's
uyashaya.
difficult because khona abantu who appear and come to you as legit.
Yeah.
You understand? Ngifike ngitshele everything. Like for me, I'm a medium.
Yeah.
So ngizofika ngitshele ukuthi okay, kunekhehle nje kuwena. You understand? And
Yeah.
it's so vele, you
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
I'm able to walk through your life, internal and external.
Yeah.
I'm able to manipulate a lot of things.
Really? We should come see you then.
I can manipulate your feelings, like it fall
Huh?
for me, like shut up.
Wow.
No, it has to do with your aura. You
Yeah.
control people's auras by your aura being clean.
Yeah.
If you have a clean aura, obviously you're gonna attract people,
Uh-huh.
and by that you can manipulate anything. Like if I'm selling like this and I have a clean aura, I can manipulate everyone in the room to just be bought
Attaining
into
what?
what I'm selling.
Been saying I got a clean aura.
So logo akusubuthakathi.
Akusubuthakathi into waza khona bayibiza ngesizo bathi unogazi.
So labantu abafana nokuthi chillers ngiyayi-owner then ngiyayi to strengthen or to
Lapho uyaqinisa ngisho
Yeah, that's
kungamakhuba
something-
lo
I think
wakhona.
that's something different.
That's different
No,
from
she's
your
just
aura.
talking from a point of view where you're into sales. Yabo
Okay.
bhayisa idlupho.
yeah.
Abantu bazela nje.
Exactly,
like,
because
without you doing
unogazi.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Yanizwa bafethu. Oh, last comment.
With that being said, how about you tell us about your products?
Okay.
Because we're not going to question. I was about to do
Like
it.
I said in the beginning, guys, my products are imported straight from Dubai.
Yeah. Are there any
I-
specific brand or different brands
There's
who you
different
import?
brands we have Afnan, we have Armaf, we have what's the other one? Rasasi. Okay, so those are Dubai brands. Okay, and then there's Supremacy, which is from Afnan, which is mostly rated and in competition with a lot of famous brands.
Yeah.
You understand? So they all legit. There's no clone. There's no oil based. No, they are not oil based.
What's up is
It's alcohol and water. So
Okay.
you can even spray it on your white shirts. You won't leave a stain.
okay.
That's how legit it is. So yeah,
So your price range?
the cheapest is 500.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Most
from
expensive?
The most expensive?
Should I point it out?
Yeah, please.
Okay, guys. I hate saying that. Okay. This one is more like the cheapest of all, like 500.
Yeah.
And then others
Dope
they go.
packaging. by the
Hey,
way.
ndoda lezi into lezi yo.
Dope
And then
packaging.
there's
Zinhle kabuhlungu kabi.
one that Amanye they are not here because I also have Mansera,
Yeah.
which is from Paris. So we have Mansera. Mansera ranges from 2,000 to a 3K. So
Yeah.
these ones from 500 to a 2K. And
Okay.
then when I
The
bring
most expensive is 2K.
here,
Yeah,
the
here.
most expensive is 2K.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice. Do you get support like us?
I was gonna
You
go
get a
there.
hold of me. You go on my Facebook page. You have
Umbulazo mnyama.
Ulazo Mnyama, Ulashong, and then also you have my numbers. Should I say that?
Yeah, you can say your numbers.
My numbers is Ningang Phonel.
No, your business number has.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ulazo Mnyama Lashongwe. That's it.
Two words. Umbulazo mnyama is one word.
Yeah, Ulazo Mnyama is one word. Ulashongwe is the other. You
Okay.
can just search out Lashong, but baninga Lashong, just go to Umbulazo Mnyama. Niyangazi
Ah,
yeah. Please brand it, get logos so that we can push it. Signetise, and you're welcome to come and display la podcast. so that we can grow a brand every time. Asinankinga
And rest
nalokho,
assured,
yabo.
ngiyacela 10%.
For what?
Oh, the energy
Yeah, okay, guys, we need to close now.
start
But
off with
Ntokozo
5%.
Yankalela, last question, last
Start off
comment,
with 5%.
so that we can close. Get properly.
Koko mina, I'll be an evangelist marketer for you because uye wangipha i-sample yokuthi ngiweze ukuthanjani. These are good guys. That thing lasted about 3 days on me. Ngakawash. First and foremost. Secondly, I don't want to put you on the spot, Nekok, but I see today is a full moon. Is there anything you can tell us about
Yes,
this,
from
if
yesterday.
you can?
It started yesterday.
Yesterday. Damn.
Well, the full moon is very important for spiritual people because it affects your moods.
Okay.
It affects your visions and your dreams. You know, we find that for women mostly during the full moon is period time. You go on your periods.
So most of the women manje base Japan.
Yeah, most.
Abanye ngisho
It's the
badlulile
new moon
eJapan.
and
baye ePhulusong.
yeah, abanye they just went.
Abanye by St. Mary's.
So a full moon is very important when you're spiritual. And there's full moon rituals as well to attract your luck.
Okay.
There's full moon rituals to attract your lover. There's rituals to attract
All right. So where people can also get you on the same place for medium things, ne?
Oh, yeah, they can.
Oh, funik practice na.
No, not that I don't like to practice. I do practice, but I don't want to market myself. I prefer it when it's someone just
Izenzakalela nje
wants to
organically.
trust me
Okay.
genuinely, yes.
No, I know. Siyabonga guys.
Interaction.
With that said, how
Kanti nokulanda abantu ngemoon.
yo
My man, I'm a Kero superstar.
promoter yokinto yasekhasi my man. Yeah, my man is a
Anything
hero
ghetto, I'm
superstar. Then yeah, usuka wena lapho. Unhlanhla la kuswethu.
My man, anything black, I'm there.
Anything black and kasi, I'm there.
Yes.
Yeah. So with that said, guys, mina niyazi podcast i-landline ama t-shirts akhona. We'll be releasing i-winter merchandise. We'll also be launching ama t-shirts we podcast. Yeah, sizowakhipha now in merchandise ya winter. So cala everyone on the team. Mela bene t-shirt.
The panel.
And the panel, everyone nje like us, so ifunayo can hit us up. Niyayazi inbox yami nama numbers wami khona online everywhere la nisifuna khona nizosithola. And look out for another segment esibhizi ngayo nomamelo izinja ekhasi. If you know ukuthi you are busy pushing something ekhasi, expect our knock at your door. Sizokuvakashela. It's not an interview, it's just to give you flowers and encourage you ukuthi keep pushing because we need each other. Yeah, it's ingabi mote kamkhulu namhlanje sisechillers. I even forgot to say cabang because they late guys. But yeah, sisechillers lifestyle ekaslam it's aka next extension 1. Please shout out to the place for ukuska indawo. Shout out to In Your Face Media. Lama visuals enwabonayo amahle are new and improved. It's because of them. Shout out to konje yini leka type your sound Breakthrough Enterprise in collaboration with Sound Kings. Yibo basincedile nge-sound engineering. Siphethe nomzizi niyamazi ke like us inja ama-graphics. Yeah, yinje sincedayo ngama-graphics. For any of your graphic needs, please contact umzizi. We also have herbal light ladies on the house. Baya go hiking. Konje ngengakhi hiking? Inge-9 hiking, so please support them. It's just 45 rand yokungena and 60 rand ye transport ne. Yeah, it's that cheap. Bese uziphathela amanzi wakho, uphathe izinto zakho. Mapetla Films guys, look out for Mapetla Films ku YouTube ne. They also have a YouTube channel. They doing short stories nyana. Niyazi nabo unjabulo uyipusha uJP. Mazi ngo JP. Yeah, shout out to Khotso, izinja zami zama-ghost. Shout out to Untokozo, shout out to Toby, shout out to everyone who's here guys. Siyabonga for the support. Niyazi nana ngeke bayivale yonke iminyango. Sharp.
No, I just wanted to say, look out, there's something we're dropping with a friend of mine, but in due course, everything will be
Will be revealed, yeah.
Yeah.
Sharp. Any last words?
Pray, Patla, and Pusher.
Ngizwile ke guys. We close it on that note.
Otherwise, stand on the first stand.
Yeah. Siyabonga guys.